being brought into court in handcuffs. Bianca Ellis is, of course, accused of killing 3-year-old Julian Wood at a Giant Eagle parking lot in North Olmsted back on June 3rd. Julian was just 3 years old. His mother was also attacked, Margot. She survived. Julian did not. This is expected to be more on her competency, whether she's competent to stand trial. We know that the judge had asked for mental evaluations. We believe we might get the results of those evaluations. Let's listen in.
That you be referred, ma'am, for an up to 20-day inpatient competency assessment at North Coast Behavioral Health Care. And that's pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code section 2945.371A. Specifically, a fuller determination about her competency to stand trial may be made in a more lengthy evaluation with 24-hour observation. In following the recommendation of the psychiatrist, the forensic psychiatrist, the court is going to first ask of the parties. I've provided through my staff a copy of the report to each of you under seal as well. So Ms. Faralia and Ms. Pateo, who are here on behalf of the state of Ohio, have you reviewed that report, and do you stipulate to the findings?
We have reviewed the report, Your Honor, and we stipulate to the recommendation of the doctor.
All right, thank you. And then Mr. Mack and Mr. Johnson here on behalf of Ms. Ellis, I know I've provided you that report, and I'll ask if you stipulate to the recommendations of the forensic psychiatrist.
Judge, we have reviewed the report. We are stipulating that Ms. Ellis be referred to North Coast Behavioral for restoration rather than further determination about her competency to stand trial. I mean, ultimately achieve the same purpose, but we are ready to leave Ms. Ellis.
Yes, I'm understanding that your report that you've discussed on the record briefly last time we were here is the position that you take with respect to your client. I think the additional report that the state of Ohio has asked and that I ordered are not able to make that finding as of now, and is asking for the additional time. Assuming the additional time would be such that the next step would be restoration to competency, we'll wait to see what North Coast provides to this court regarding that. And understanding that's the position of both you and Mr. Johnson regarding Ms. Ellis, your client here today. I'll note this. I know there's a 3 to 4 week backlog as far as taking new patients at North Coast and then allowing for the 20-day rehab or the 20-day observation of Ms. Ellis. I'm going to set this, I think I'd like to set it 60 days out. I think that would give us an opportunity to get a report back from North Coast. If it's something that we receive earlier, I'll speak through my journal entry about setting it on the record. But what I'd like to do is set 60 days out. I'll ask my bailiff to give us a date, and I'll make that just an attorney conference. Ms. Ellis will not be brought up for that hearing. And that'll be just an opportunity for us to convene and know possibly where we're at as far as that evaluation. Assuming we do get the evaluation before then, my bailiff will contact you and we'll make sure that we come here to the record to have that opportunity to discuss their findings at that time. And then additionally, in speaking with, or at least knowing what North Coast is probably going to want, I'm going to allow North Coast to have a copy of this report under seal. And then Mr. Mack and Mr. Johnson, I'm going to ask if you would consider, based upon your representation of Ms. Ellis, whether you would also allow it. I'm going to assume that they're going to want a copy of your report so that they have a full understanding of both psychiatrists' evaluations as well as all the information provided to each of them. And if that's something that you're willing to do, I'll ask that you at least let my bailiff know that, so then I could ask that you file it under seal, and then I would respond by providing it to North Coast under seal and allow them to have that for their own input. So I'll ask that you consider that as well.
Yes, sir.
Very good. A date?
October 15th.
October 15th. We'll set that for an attorney conference only, unless I have a report sooner than that, in which I'll ask the lawyers then to appear with client present as well. Does that work with the state for that date?
I'm checking.
Sure. We'll do that at 9 o'clock, unless your trial schedule looks.
Thursday, that's fine.
Why don't we just set it at 8? It's a Tuesday, the 15th. You're already in 2025. Why don't we set it at 8:30? I know your trial calendars, knowing what may happen on your calendars, maybe an 8:30 before you get up to another courtroom might be easier. And then anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor, I just want to make it very clear that though the defense is mentioned restoration, this by no means is restoration. This is just to determine competency at this stage of the game, and that is what has been determined by the court psychiatric clinic.
Judge, I think what I've said is that our expert has determined her to be competent, but the state needs more time to the court psychiatric clinic to make further determination.
No, your expert has made a determination that has not been shared with the state. So the state cannot agree to anything other than what has been made in court by this judge, ordering that this defendant go to North Coast to be determined whether or not she is competent.
We agree that she should go to North Coast.
Very good. All right. Both parties accepting the recommendation. I'm going to order her to North Coast to be transported. Again, knowing that there's a wait time, we'll notify the internal liaison here so that we can get some update. Once my bailiff is able to have that update, I'll make sure she provides that to all the parties. Anything further from defense? Yeah, thanks for everyone for being timely. I apologize for the delay that it took for Ms. Ellis to appear. So, all right, we'll adjourn. Thank you.
Dan DeRose with 19 News will explain what happened here. I just want to watch Miss Ellis. And that's exactly what I kind of wanted to watch. And we're not sure exactly who that is. It appears to be upset family members. We heard Bianca turn towards them and say, "Hello, beautiful," with a big smile, but tears from those individuals. Not sure if that is her mother, not going to speculate on that, but let's explain what happened in court here. The last time that they met in court, the defense had already had their client evaluated by a psychologist, and the defense has that under seal. The state has not seen that, and they have not made it public in court what that defense psychologist said. More than likely, that defense psychologist probably came forward and said that she is incompetent to stand trial, but we don't know that because they have sealed it. They have their report. It is sealed. The judge may have seen that report, but the state has not. So then last time when we were in court about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, the state had a chance to ask for their own mental evaluation at North Coast Behavioral Center. That evaluation apparently needs more time. They came back and North Coast has asked for an additional time. Now, there was an interesting phrase that was used, not only additional time, but for restoration to competency. That's a big deal. That phrase means that if a person is found incompetent to stand trial, or normally when someone is found incompetent to stand trial, they are sent to a psychiatric hospital and they are held there until they are restored to be able to stand trial, to understand why they are being held, the crime they committed. And it was interesting to hear the state, Ms. Feralia, bring that back up, saying, wait a second, we did not agree to what's in the defense's report, and we do not agree to the phrase restoration to competency, because that could take a year, that could take 10 years, that could take 20 years. There's no time limit on a restoration of competency. So she wanted to make sure that the state was not agreeing to that. that the only thing the state is agreeing to is that the North Coast Behavioral Center needs more time to come up with an evaluation on Bianca Ellis. You might be saying that that this is just a delay, but they need to make sure they get this right. We haven't even gotten to where there's supposed to be a trial in December. We're not even anywhere near that. We haven't gotten through the first phase of this to determine if this woman who was at the police station earlier asking about money that she thought they had of hers, she then is accused of going across the street to Volunteers of America, buying 2 knives, or stealing 2 knives actually from Volunteers of America, and then walking right across the parking lot to a Giant Eagle. We've seen the surveillance video of her walking into the Giant Eagle. She walks near the registers. That's when Julian, a 3-year-old Julian, and his mother Margot were leaving the store. She doubles back around, follows them into the parking lot, follows Margot and Julian to their car, and then out of nowhere, doesn't appear any words were said. There was no fight. There was no confrontation. In the video, it appears to show Bianca Ellis then pulling out one of those knives and quickly stabbing Julian several times while he was in the grocery cart, and then stabbing his mother. That is what she is accused of, but we can't even get to that trial part until we figure out her competency, and today is just another delay. They have set another hearing. Now, this is going to be an attorney conference. Not sure that that will take place in a courtroom on the record. That may be just something that happens with the judge and the attorneys in the judge's chambers. But of course, we will stay on top of this. That's not even scheduled until October 15th. So we will wait and see. If we have any other breaking news, it'll be right here on our digital platforms. Otherwise, our 9 o'clock news is currently ongoing on Channel 19. You can finish up watching that. And then we'll have our 11 o'clock news on CW43 and our noon news on Channel 19. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Have a good day.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media at Cleveland 19 News.